Zaneb is going to introduce Azra. Zaneb is my daughter, and she is going to talk about Atiya.
So if any of you ever wonder why I have an inferiority complex, you're about to find out. I've given up trying, basically. So let me introduce today my favorite aunt, Dr. Azra Raza. Dr. Azra is a graduate of Dow Medical College in Karachi and currently holds the Chan Soon Shong Endowed Chair in Medicine at Columbia University in New York City. She's an exceptionally accomplished cancer research specialist who has published literally thousands of academic papers and presented at hundreds of conferences in every corner of the world. She's given a TED Talk, served as keynote speaker at the Lahore Literature Festival, and most importantly, saved thousands of lives. Her record of academic, professional, and personal excellence is at once humbling and inspiring. This commitment to excellence comes out of a story she told me when I worked in her research lab. She once told her husband, Harvey, that she wanted to help people in Pakistan. He replied that the best thing she could do was to be the best at her work. And she has done just that. Along the way, she's inspired most of her nieces and nephews and some of my classmates and dozens other doctors, researchers, academics, artists, and poets who have also had the good fortune of learning from her. There's an academic army across the United States carrying on her model of intellectual inquiry and service. Dr. Raza is a devoted student of many disciplines: literature, art, music, popular culture, history, and politics. Almost a decade ago, she published in partnership with Yale professor Sarah Soleri Goodyear an English translation of Ghalib's Urdu poetry called Ghalib, Epistemologies of Elegance. And this year we celebrate Penguin House's publication of the paperback Ghalib, Epistemologies of Elegance. Dr. Raza's example of elegance, her example of excellence is unparalleled and endlessly inspiring, and we should all emulate this tireless commitment to being our best in service to humanity.
Thank you, Z. That was really good and personal. I would like to invite Azra to the stage now and tell us about Ghalib. You want to know?
Adabers. Thank you, Z. That was a beautiful introduction. I have to admit that since I love speechifying, many people introduce me. But of course, when it's done with great emotion like Z did just now, it has a totally, entirely different meaning. I'm glad she got through it without crying. I don't know if I will get through thanking her without crying. Thank you so much, Z. It was beautiful. And for my sister, and especially my brother-in-law, Tariq, I'd like to just read 2 shares for them, because Atiya and Tariq are the khizrs of our family. They are the guides who show us the way. And the way they show us the way is by example. I can safely say that everything or whatever I have been able to do is thanks to the nurturing, the love, the support, and the guidance of Atiya and Tariq. And she gets very angry with me whenever I say this to her, and Ike starts crying because he doesn't believe it, but it happens to be true. आपकी मधा और मेरा मुंह और करूं भी तो आए किसको यकीन है दुआ बस यही कि दुनिया में आप हों जिंदा जावेदां आमीन. It's a beautiful occasion. It's 13 Rajab and it is Hazrat Ali's birthday. Just 2 days ago, one of my dear friends who happens to be a famous TV star in Pakistan, I was in Islamabad with my family, Atiya was there, and Naseem Zehra, the TV personality, was also in Islamabad. So I know Naseem because I was at University of Massachusetts and she was doing her PhD at the Kennedy School of Government, and we became good friends from that point on. So anyway, Naseem Zehra in Islamabad met me at my friend Maliha's home and took me aside and said, Azra, I have a very special gift for you. I said, what is it? She said, I just went to Najaf for Arbaeen, Najaf and Karbala. And she said from there they apparently removed some stones from Hazrat Ali's maqbara. And she said, part of that stone I brought for you. And she gave it to me, this little piece. I said, Naseem, if you're giving it to me, why don't you, I have to be able to wear it somewhere. I was so moved by this present. So she said, she took it back. She said, okay, I'll get it fixed. And this is what it is. Here is what I'm wearing. The Durre Najaf, this piece that was removed directly from Imam Ali's gravesite. And she got it set for me. I can't tell you how fortunate I feel that right after I put this on, I am here meeting all of you wonderful people, so many familiar faces. Thank you all so much for coming. Really, it is an absolutely humbling experience for me to have all of you here. And because it's 13 Rajab, I had to tell this story because I'm feeling very fortunate about this how this happened in a timely fashion. And lastly, I'm very excited by the fact that there are so many young people here tonight. What the exhibition we saw upstairs was completely ravishing. It blew us away. Shabash beta, Adil, you did a fantastic job. Salma, you set the stage for it in a gorgeous opening statement that you gave. And then Adil's work, of course, speaks for itself, but you embellished it with your beautiful imagery that you created for us. So I really want to thank you. And I also want to offer Azra Mahal in New York to host you whenever you want to come. Why I'm excited about people even younger than Hashim and Adil who have worked so hard to put together this brilliant show, and we are very grateful to both of you. I think that it's going to be a real letdown to have me after you, but I'm going to bank on Ghalib. I have some hope. But the real excitement is to have Ada and Sam and Meena and Elsa, and to have many of their friends in the audience and some of the other younger people who are here. Why? Because this whole exercise that my friend Sarah Suleri and I did in attempting to translate Ghalib has had a couple of purposes behind it. The first was that there are something like 70 extant sharhas or explanations or explications, interpretations of Ghalib's work already. 70. I say that there can be 700 more and it won't be able to do justice to Ghalib. Why? Because it's always a journey into interpretation and reinterpretation of the text. I began reading Ghalib at 28 years of age in Buffalo, New York, started weekly mehfil, which I named Urdu mehfil, and the idea was to read through the divan. And literally we used to have 7 or 8 sharas with us to read because no two interpretations were alike. And I felt that if you can understand some of what Ghalib is saying, it will teach you how to interpret the world in your own terms. That was my idea of reading Ghalib. So I want to proudly claim that we read Ghalib 3 times over in these mehfils. And each time we learned something more from it. But then, because of the kinds of issues that Ghalib addresses, the eternal mysteries that are the anguish of man, for which no matter how much money and wealth and beauty and health and everything we can have, yet we will always feel an emptiness in us because we are searching for the Israr-e-Azal. And Ghalib addresses issues of that nature, which are so universal to mankind. I felt that we need an interpretation of this man who is addressing issues of the same nature that Einstein did or Newton did, from a Western perspective. And there was no better partner possible for me than my dear friend Sarah Suleri Goodyear, because she's half Welsh but grew up mostly in Pakistan, a brilliant scholar. If you ask me, the best living writer in the entire world is Sarah Suleri to me. But most importantly, a fellow Ghalib aficionado. So I convinced her to work on an interpretation from a Western perspective also. But the second most important reason for us, recently I spoke at NYU about Ghalib, and afterwards one of the TV stations was interviewing me, and the man just came up and said, "So Dr. Raza, this is a great thing you did. You translated Ghalib for the Western audience so that they get to know him." And I said, absolutely not. That was not our purpose. The reason we translated Ghalib was for our children. Why? Because you see, our children, even if they learn to speak Urdu, their language remains domesticated. The complexities, the subtleties of the language are lost on them. I'll give you a simple example. In Urdu we say, फैज साहब ने ये शेर गालिब की ज़मीन में कहा है. ज़मीन का अब यहाँ क्या मतलब है? किसी ने मीरानीस से पूछ लिया कि आप कहाँ से आपके ऊपर ये उतरते हैं ये अशार? उन्होंने फौरन जवाब दिया, हम आसमान से लाए हैं इन ज़मीनों को. अब हमारी बेटी जो है, she can understand what is आसमान, what is ज़मीन, but she won't understand the delicacy behind this line. हम आसमान से लाए हैं इन ज़मीनों को, बराए खातिरे अहबाब चाहिए हरदम, अनीस ठेस ना लग जाए आप गीनों को. So we felt very strongly that a language represents a culture. And if you don't understand the beauty and subtlety of the language, you miss the intricacies of the culture. The culture in the West is, I love you too. But for us, मत पूछ के क्या हाल है मेरा तेरा, तू देख के क्या रंग है तेरा. And the fact that these children are sitting in front of me is so exciting for me, and this is why I was going to do something very differently, by the way. What I was going to do tonight for you was to lay the context of the time in which Ghalib is writing, by showing you the works of two of his contemporaries, Hali and Anis. And I was going to recite a portion of the Musaddas for you and a portion of a Marsiya for you, and then I was going to move into Ghalib. Okay. Well, if people have the patience, I would love to.
Yes.
And why I wanted to do that was to show you that Hali, on the one hand, is writing a Musaddas because he's, first of all, ordered by Sir Sayyid to do it. Secondly, he himself felt very acutely the despondency into which the Muslims had fallen and wanted to give back, to inspire them back into some kind of rejuvenation of sorts. And that's why he wrote the Musaddas. So he was very much with his time. On the other hand, Anis, who's living in Lucknow now, the Nawabs and the kings of Lucknow, Awadh, are all Shia aristocracy. And they support majalis in which marsiyas and nohas and sohs and salam is being read. So the greatness to which these poets like Dabir and Anis took marsiya and noha, the peak of eloquence, in my opinion, is reached in that time in Lucknow. So that's happening in Lucknow. In Delhi and Aligarh, this whole movement is going on about westernization, education, awakening, things like that. And there is Ghalib sitting in Delhi. And the war of independence or the mutiny or whatever you want to call it has happened in 1857, which has moved Hali and Sir Sayyid and all these people to do different things. But Ghalib is above all of this. He does not join a movement. He doesn't belong to a party. His questions, his metaphysical habitations are far above this kind of lowly discussion. Because Ghalib understands that the nature of man is the same, only the faces are going to change. Whether it's the British or the Mughals, it's going to be the same cruelty for the poor. He understands the real, I would say that the real motivations behind human instincts. And so he remains above all of this. So I won't do what I was going to do because I don't want to bore the children with reading the Musaddas and the Marsiya. What I'm going to do is simply read the two shares with the interpretations and try to explain it to you kids and hope to excite you and inspire you enough into wanting to learn this on your own. So I did this trick with my daughter Scheherazade. Since she's 3 years old, the first sher I taught her was, Asad हम वो जुनू जौलां गदाए बेसरोपा हैं कि है सरपंज मिशगान आहू पुश्तखार अपना. Why? Because there is only a certain age until which you can correct your pronunciation. After that she will say घोड़ा नहीं कह सकती, घोड़ा. So I wanted to correct her pronunciation at that age. So 3 साल की उम्र से I started teaching her Ghalib. And my trick was that once she understands a single sher of Ghalib, she will be seduced forever. She will have no escape. She will want to learn it and read it herself. That's what I want our children to do now. No matter where you are growing up, whether you are growing up in Baltimore or Fargo, North Dakota, Ghalib will have the same pull for you if you, as you grow older and learn to understand what he's saying. So the 2 shares I had sent to Atiya and my sister, and she asked Adil to illustrate. Actually, they're very related. You'll be surprised. I'm going to show you how. First is from this ghazal. कल के लिए कराज न खिस्सत शराब में ये सूए जन है साक़ी कौसर के बाब में। शर्म कदाए नाज है अपने ही से सही, हैं कितने बेहिजाब जो हैं यूं हिजाब में। रोमे है रख्शे उम्र कहाँ देखिए थमे, न हाथ बाग पर है न पाहे न रकाब में। असले शहूदो शाहिदो मशहूद एक हैं, हैरान हूँ फिर मुशाहिदा है किस हिसाब में। है गैब गैब जिसको समझते हैं हम शहूद, we think that the hidden has been revealed but it is hidden। है गैब गैब जिसको समझते हैं हम शहूद, we are being fooled into believing that this is apparent and has appeared, is real, but it's still hidden because it's like है ख्वाब में हनूज जो जागे हैं ख्वाब में। In dreams you dream that you woke up, you think you are awake but actually you are still dreaming. So Ghalib is saying what you think has been revealed is still a secret because you have woken up in your dream, you're not really awake yet. It means the complexity is such that layer upon layer has to be peeled away by you. No question is allowed, I'm sorry.
No, it wasn't a question, it was...
I was worried it may be a comment. So sorry, but because I will lose my...
please.
Yes, I'm very stupid in this because I just lose my concentration suddenly. So if people start interrupting, as soon as I'm done, I'm going to hand over the mic to you.
Oh, no.
So then he comes to this sher, Araish Jamal se. Jamal is beauty. आराइश जमाल से फारिग नहीं हनूज, पेशे नजर है आईना दायम नकाब में। What is he saying here? The embellishment of the ravishing is never to be done. Araish is making up, embellishing. Jamal is beauty, but it is also one of the 99 names of God. So immediately your mind gets distracted. What does Ghalib mean? What is he saying by Jamal? Jameel, Jamal, Husn. Araish Jamal se farig nahi hanooz. The embellishment of the beauty is never to be done, of the ravishing rather. Inside the seclusion of the veil, the mirror lives constantly. In other words, no sooner does the creator makes a creation. He looks at it and wants to embellish. And then it's like a mirror there that he wants to keep embellishing it. Shazia Sikandar, the great artist, MacArthur Genius Award winner. She's representing New York at the Lahore Biennale right now. Called me at the beginning of the Biennale. Azra Appa, give me a good Ghalib sher as a unwan for my exhibition. So I said, Shazia, I'm going to read this sher also at my sister's. Araish Jamal se farig nahi hanooz. Because that is the work of every artist, which means it is never done. No sooner do you make something that you become, oh, okay, I can do better. So now, the way Sarah and I interpreted it, and it is an invitation to all of you to interpret these lines in your own way. But the way we interpreted it is, the construction of enchantment, whether ethereal or earthly, requires infinite art and labor. One that can never see an end in sight. In some ways, the sher demands to be read simultaneously as both a statement of metaphysical and of corporeal desire, in which the impulse appears to be the enigma of incompletion. Araish Jamal se farig nahi hanooz. It is that enigma of incompletion that you can never be satisfied. The deity adorns his creation but remains hidden from the created, never revealing his final word, while the artifice of the human other is always in wait for its point of fulfillment. Neither the observer, this is the most important line, neither the observer nor the observed can expect the calm of consummation. We as humans are destined to feel the anguish, no matter what happens. आराइश जमाल से फारिग नहीं हनूज, पेशे नजर है आईना दायम नकाब में. And how beautifully Adil has depicted this. I was invited to a conference. I was telling Elsa and Meena earlier about this. 15 of us were taken to a farm 100 miles from New York, in upstate New York. It was a conference on cybernetics. Only JB will understand the word cybernetics. Don't worry, I'm not going to explain it. But before I go on though, the way I opened the conference was, I said, and the people who were there were like MIT Media Lab head, so-and-so, Harvard, Stanford, Nobel laureates, people like that. Everyone is debating this cybernetics thing because the future is quite scary. So apparently these two guys get caught and they are going to be put to death, and they are asked, do you have any last wishes? So there's an older man and a younger one. So the older one says, yes, my dying wish is that I am a professor of cybernetics. I want to give a lecture to explain it one more time to everyone before I die. Then you can kill me. They said, okay. Then they turned to the younger one and said, do you have any wish? He said, yes, I'm his student, please kill me first. That's how bad cybernetics is. So we debated several issues for 3 days on this farmhouse. But the only thing we could agree on, all 15 of us agreed only on one thing, which is that our great-grandchildren, which means Ada and Sam and Elsa and Meena's children, will not be humans like us. They will be superior. Why? The biggest issue we have right now, which is the threat to humanity, is the fact that we have developed godlike technology. I'm cutting and pasting DNA in my lab and turning genes on and off. We have godlike technology. How do we reconcile it with our Paleolithic Stone Age emotions? This is the problem. You can have nuclear weapons and then you have a volatile figure sitting with his finger or her finger on the button, who can be very volatile and can lose it any minute and then just turn it on. So this is the kind of thing which is a real threat. And the coming years are going to see us trying to solve this issue, which is the central issue right now. Technology is going to keep progressing, of course. It's going very fast, no one can stop it. But the next concentration of technology will have to be, and then what happens when we have the next Homo Deus instead of Homo sapiens? What are their desires going to be and what is their anguish going to be? Because for us, it is always going to be the same Isra Raza. आराइश जमाल से फारिग नहीं हनूज, पेशे नजर है आईना दायम नकाब. The last share of this ghazal is beautiful. Ghalib नदीम दोस्त से आती है बुए दोस्त. Nadeem is dost is dost. Ghalib, I can smell my friend from my friend. Which means, let's say I'm friends with Z, but when I meet Z, Z is friends with Gabe, so I can smell Gabe through Z. Yeah? That's the kind. Ghalib, Nadeem dost se aati hai buए dost, मशगूल हक हूँ बंदगी बू तुराब में. To reach God, all I have to do is be friendly. And that will be my connection directly, because dost se dost ki khushbu aa rahi hai. But there is a deeper meaning in this sher, that in order to reach God, serve humanity. That is the main purpose that Ghalib is trying to say. Ghalib, Nadeem dost se aati hai buए dost. Mashghool haq hoon. In order to serve God, I am serving man. Bandagi Boo Turab mein. Because you see, Boo Turab was one of Ali's given names. But it also means the father of earth, mitti. And it basically immediately grounds us on earth into corporeal things, into earthly matters. And I think that for the children, it's such an important thing to understand that those abstractions of trying to reach a higher level can all be brought down into practical things by serving humanity. And the sher I always like to read for my sister Atiya is, खुदा के बंदे तो हैं हजारों, बनों में फिरते हैं मारे मारे, मैं उसका बंदा बनूंगा लेकिन खुदा के बंदों से प्यार होगा. ये है अतिया को जो खुदा के बंदों से प्यार, और जो आप सबको है, लेकिन उसका इजहार करना बड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है. We have to be able to express that love for our fellow humans. So I think that this शेर आराइश जमाल से फारिग नहीं हनूज, पेशे नजर है आईना दायम नकाब में, is also pointing out to us that your work will never be done. You can't ever have that calm of consummation and sit back and say, okay, I can retire now. No. In fact, Ghalib at another place says something so beautiful. Kavish ka dil kare hai taqaza ke hai hanoz. My heart constantly urges me to continue working, because kavish is continuous struggle. Kavish ka dil kare hai taqaza ke hai hanoz. Nakhun pe qarz us girahe neem baaz ka. As long as there is a single half undone knot left in the universe, my nails owe it a debt to open it. Which means that until your last breath, you have to keep working. You can't ever stop. Because kavish ka dil kare hai taqaza ke hai nakhun pe qarz us girahe neem baaz ka. These two shares, आराइश जमाल से फारिग नहीं हनो. These two shares literally epitomize, they summarize Ghalib's whole philosophy of life. Your work will never be done. And do you know, I'm a jogger, Z and I jog together whenever we are together. I was running in Central Park thinking about this one sher. पर तवे खुर से है शबनम को फना की तालीम. परतो is ray, खुर short for खुर्शीद, the sun. पर तवे खुर से है शबनम को फना की तालीम. The dewdrop learns the message of annihilation from the first ray of the sun. The dewdrop waits all night, it's madly in love with the sun, but the first ray comes and evaporates it. So real love means you have to die for it, right? पर तवे खुर से है शबनम को फना की तालीम. You wonder where is he going with the second line? मैं भी हूँ एक इनायत की नजर होने तक. पर तवे खुर से है शबनम को फना की तालीम, मैं भी हूँ एक इनायत की नजर होने तक. So I was running about and thinking, so the second line means I am also alive, because you haven't given me the the look of I can't say satisfaction. So I can't. But I was running in the park and it occurred to me, Z, that in fact what Ghalib is saying here is that the fact that I am breathing means that I haven't given my all. Because if I had, I would be dead. But because I am not dead, that means I have to keep giving. So you see the same thing. Kavish ka dil kare hai taqaza ki hai hanoz, nakhun pe qarz, uski rahe neelbaz ka. Araish jamal se. Meaning even God's work is never done. He creates and then he embellishes and then creates, then embellishes. You see, so also tells you how secular and postmodern Ghalib is. That's what I was going to talk about, that compared to Hali and compared to Anis and Dabir in Lucknow, Ghalib is a different stratosphere. He's completely a secular and completely a postmodern individual. He is the one who really foresees everything that happens in India much 100 years before. Unbelievable. So, and then he also admonishes, हाँ वो नहीं खुदा परस, जाओ वो बेवफा सही, जिसको हो दीन और दिल अजीज, उसकी गली में जाए क्यों? If you can't give your all, then don't even bother to step in that alleyway. You don't belong there. Go and do some plumbing or something else. Leave the difficult things there. This is Ghalib throws down gauntlet after gauntlet of challenges for you. But you see what I mean, children. Do you follow that how universal is his message? And this is a guy writing in Delhi in 18... Oh, that's the other thing children must know. So the first divan, his complete work in Urdu is only 1802 shares. The first nuskha, the first book that was published, you won't believe the Z, it contained 1100 of the shares already. Do you know how old he was when it was published? 24. So this Asad Hum Wo Junu Jola, all these things I'm reading to you, he wrote at 17 and 18 years of age. Then he stops writing in Urdu and only writes in Persian. He has 10,000 shares in Persian and then writes several books of prose. At 55, he has to take a job again, or for the first time rather, with Bahadur Shah Zafar. So now he has to teach the emperor how to write poetry. So he can only write in Urdu. So he comes back to Urdu after 55. And then those 700, 800 shares are added. But that's the amazing thing, that everything he has written is before 24 years of age. So he's telling you right away. हाँ वो नहीं खुदा परस, जाओ वो बेवफा सही, जिसको हो दीन और दिल अजीज, उसकी गली में जाए क्यों? जब वो जमाल दिल फरोज, सूरत महर नीम रोज, आप ही हो नज़ारा सोज. You know, when the beautiful one, the glorious one is so beautiful that it is like the midday sun, mehr neem rose, midday sun. The brightness of the beloved's face is so glorious and so blinding. Why is she wearing a veil? Because as soon as we look at her, we'll go blind anyway. Nazara soz. It burns your eyes. हाँ वो जमाल दिल फरोज, सूरत महर नीम रोज, आप ही हो नज़ारा सोज, पर्दे में मुंह छुपाए क्यों? So these veilings, these unveilings, the beauty and शर्म एक अदाए नाज है, from this very ghazal, he says, शर्म एक अदाए नाज है, अपने ही से सही. Sharm is a very interesting word. Sara and I talked for a long time about how to translate sharm in English, because there is a positive connotation in this sharm. So it can't be shame or it can't be any of those. The way we translated it is reticence. Sharm ek adaए नाज है, अपने ही से सही, हैं कितने बेहिजाब जो यूं हैं हिजाब में. By veiling yourself, you are drawing attention to yourself and you are unveiling yourself really. हैं कितने बेहिजाब जो हैं यूं हिजाब, meaning by putting on the hijab you are unhijabing yourself. So share after share is, sometimes we talked about one share for 3 days and we would not reach a consensus. Fortunately, I'm a good editor, so I would tell Sarah, no, this is not what he's saying. Okay, the second share, then I'll be done. Okay, the second share is also which I asked Adil to illustrate. Stop texting Adil. मत पूछ के क्या हाल है मेरा तेरे पीछे, तू देख के क्या रंग है तेरा मेरे आगे. Do not ask what my condition is without you. Just look at your own comportment before me. The beauty of this sher is its complete rejection of the traditional self-effacement of the lover. Rather, the poet even admonishes the other to offer something of a warning. When stating bluntly that the other has no need to inquire what the lover's condition may be in the beloved's absence, the poet is really exposing the latter's subterfuge and declaring his own authenticity of spirit. The second misra, "Tu dekh ke kya rang hai tera mere aage," corroborates this spirit by suggesting that the beloved's countenance mirrors the agonies and ecstasies of the poet himself. So you see, आराइशे जमाल से फारिग नहीं हनोज, पेशे नजर है आईना दायम नकाब. You're constantly looking at the reflection and then doing something else. And here again, it's the beloved's face is now reflecting the feelings of the lover. मत पूछ के क्या हाल है मेरा तेरे पीछे, तू देख के क्या रंग है तेरा मेरे आगे. You don't have to ask me, you just have to look at yourself and you will know how I am feeling. But this is the subtleties, the intricacies that I was talking about. But you see, unless you appreciate the culture that produced this language of hijab and behijabi and nazara sozi and all, you can't even appreciate the language. And this is why an introduction to the language is an introduction to your culture, to your tehzeeb. You kids are the inheritors of a courtly and a grand tehzeeb built over thousands of years. You need to claim that tehzeeb. You see, because in our culture, the highest aspiration for a man is towards gentleness. Shows of macho behavior are crude and crass. Claim your tehzeeb. You can do it in a one-click efficiency. Google Ghalib, Google Faiz and Faraz, Iqbal and Josh, Anis and Dabir. बालाए ज़मी जिंदों की तामीरें हैं और ज़ेरे ज़मी मुर्दों की जागीरें हैं. इबरत का मुरक्का है अजब सफ़े ज़मी, इस वर्क के दोनों तरफ तस्वीरें हैं. वर्क के दोनों तरफ तस्वीरें हैं. And the last shade in this is है मौज ज़न कुल्ज़ में खूं काश यही हो. है मौज ज़न कुल्ज़ में खूं काश यही हो. There is an ocean of blood streaming in front of my eyes. है मौज ज़न कुल्ज़ में खूं काश यही हो. I wish this was all it was going to be. Aata hai abhi dekhiye kya kya mere aage. Tears of blood create oceans of blood, if only this were it. And yet, what unknown fates must I still behold before me? बाजी चाहे अतफाल है दुनिया मेरे आगे, होता है शबो रोज तमाशा मेरे आगे. If I challenge the children in this room today, if you just read this one ghazal, I think there are 10 or 12 shares in it, and understand this one ghazal or meditate about it, it will open vistas of interrogations, of meditations for you to think about. And it is only reading, through reading poetry. So I'll end with a little episode. I was just in Lahore, speaking at the Lahore Literary Festival. And I was staying with my friends, so they sent a car to pick me up. As soon as I got into the car, the chauffeur, regular driver, said to me, "So, Begum Saab, you are going to the literary festival?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Oh, what are you going to do there?" I said, "I'm speaking." He said, "Okay, what about?" I said, "Well, actually," I said, "I can give you one instance. I'm talking about Mahmud Ghaznavi and Malik Ayaz, his slave. And one of the interesting episodes is that Mahmud Ghaznavi gave his ring to Ayaz, who was supposed to be very smart, and said, 'Write something on this ring which will make me happy when I'm sad and sad when I'm happy.' That is quite a challenge. Write something which will make me sad when I'm happy and happy when I'm sad. Without blinking an eye, immediately wrote on it, 'This too shall pass.' When you are happy and you read 'This too shall pass,' you become sad. When you are sad and you read 'This too shall pass,' okay, that gives you courage. So I was being very clever. I told the chauffeur this, that I'm going, this is something. And you know what he said? He said, "But Begum Saab, Bulle Shah has said this better." Really? What has Bulle Shah said? You know what he said? He said, Bulle Shah said, "Dushman mare, khushi na kariye. दुश्मन मरे खुशी ना करिए, सजना भी मर जाना है." How profound. And this is something I find deeply moving in Pakistan. That whether it's your taxi driver or your cook, they are so moved by poetry. It is an aesthetic culture. A culture which is grounded in high poetry. Then I can't tell you, he read to me so many shares of Allama Iqbal and Bulle Shah. "Rab ek gunjaldar bujharat, Rab ek gorak dhanda, jira gunjal nu kholan lag jaye, kafir ho jaye banda." "रब एक गुंजलदार बुझारत, रब एक गोरख धंधा, जिड़ा गुंजल नू खोलन लग जाए, काफिर हो जाए बंदा, पर मैनू लाई लग मुसले कोलू." That Muslim who is yes, not curious at all, accepting everything, मैनू लाई लग मुसले कोलू, खोजी काफिर चंगा. The curious kafir is better to me than that Muslim who just accepts everything and is not curious. What a great thing Bulle Shah said. This chauffeur is reading all this to me. The point I'm making is that even though you children are growing up in a deeply unpoetic culture, your traditions are very poetic. You come from a deeply poetic tradition. You need to reclaim that tradition. This is what Sarah and I were trying to do, to incite you, to excite you to poetry. And Ada, do you know what happened? I spoke at NYU. And I was speaking there on Ghalib, and Sheher was there in the audience. So I said, okay, I'm going to test Sheher. I taught her this ghazal which I want to read. Maybe she'll be able to come and recite. So she came over and actually recited, which is a very beautiful elegiac ghazal. Marsiya ghazal we call it. um, so anyway, I'll remember which the one that she. No, let me just look it up in. हाँ. दर्द से मेरे है तुझको बेकरारी हाय हाय क्या हुई जालिम तेरी गफलत शारी हाय हाय तेरे दिल में गर न था आशोब गम का हौसला तूने फिर क्यों की थी मेरी गम गुसारी हाय हाय शर्म रुसवाई से जा छुपना नकाबे खाक में शर्म रुसवाई से जा छुपना नकाबे खाक में खत्म है उल्फत की तुझ पे पर्देदारी हाय हाय She read it. So I was talking about this particular ghazal. But at the end of it, she called Irshad on the phone, my housekeeper, and said, Irshad, arrange for Najma. I'm so inspired today. I want to go back and start learning Kathak again. And I was so touched by that. That Ghalib has this power. If he grabs your heart because of the kind of issues he's raising of deep love, that you have to, if you love anything, but most importantly another human being, but it could be any passion you have, your art, your science, your poetry, your painting, your creation, whatever you are doing, you have to give your all in it. There can't be halfway things in this. And I think that if I can succeed in giving this message out to the young people today, then I think that our work that we tried to do with this is really more than done. Now, I will end by reading to you a very interesting piece which is not Ghalib. So we will end with something different. But again, it is So what I'm going to read is the last page of a 16-page long Behre Tawil. So I don't think Atiya has heard this part before, because I have recited many different versions from different parts of this Behre Tawil. So Behr is meter. Meter can be short. Ibn Maryam hua kare koi, mere dukh ki dawa kare koi. कौन है जो नहीं है हाजतमंद किसकी हाजत रवा करे कोई क्या किया खिज़्र ने सिकंदर से अब किसे रहनुमा करे कोई शॉर्ट बहर एक होती है बहरे तबील which goes on for pages but it's also almost sounds like rap. So this is a Mustar Khairabadi Behre Tawil, but the idea is this whole, I remember this now because it's the idea of consummation. Are we all on a journey into irresolution? Will there ever be the calm of consummation for any of us? No. Because life is an enigma of incompletion. That's what it's about. So when you, in this last part, the lover has finally succeeded in seducing the beloved who has come onto his side now. Except as soon as he has acquired what he wanted now, he wants to move on to different things. So what happens now? Again, so this is that whole 180-degree turn. So what I'm going to read to you is just saying that how things turn around. First, they used to do this, now I'm doing the same thing to them. What they used to do to me, how they used to torture me, now I'm torturing them. Because again, there's that incompletion. So what I'm going to read is really one line, but it's a bit long. मैंने जो देखा कि फुसू उस पे मोहब्बत का हुआ है तो खुद ही जाग उठी मेरी और भड़क उठी वो नफरत के जो पहले थी मोहब्बत और मेरी चाह ने चाहा कि दिखाऊं उसे और ज़माने को भी बतलाऊं कि लोगों ये कहा सच है कि आता है किया अपने ही आगे इन्हें देखो ये कभी मुझको जलाते थे, सताते थे, रुलाते थे, कुढ़ाते थे, न आते थे, न जाते थे, महीनों से पते शम्मा जलाते थे, कभी आंख चुराते थे, कभी मुंह को छुपाते थे, बड़ा रोब जमाते थे। और अब ऐसा है कि मैं इनको सताता हूँ, रुलाता हूँ, जलाता हूँ, कुढ़ाता हूँ, न आता हूँ, न जाता हूँ, महीनों से पते शम्मा जलाता हूँ, कभी आंख चुराता हूँ, कभी मुंह को छुपाता हूँ। अजब उल्टा तमाशा है। उन्हें हो गई उल्फत, मुझे नफरत, उन्हें हसरत, मुझे हैरत, मुझे आती है हंसी और उन्हें रोना। वो मेरे इश्क में रोते हैं, मैं हंसता हूँ। वो वफाओं के तलबगार, मैं इस रस्म से बेजार। उन्हें चाह का अरमान, मुझे जुल्म की ख्वाहिश। उन्हें उस तरह कुढ़ाऊं, मुझे जिस तरह कुढ़ाया। उन्हें उस तरह सताऊं, मुझे जिस तरह सताया। जो करूं आने का वादा, तो वो बरसों ना हो पूरा। जो हो पूरा भी तो कैसे, कि मिलूं मिल के सताऊं, कलक व रंज बढ़ाऊं। जो वो कुछ कहने को होवे तो कहूं रहने दो, फुर्सत नहीं सुनने की। सुनूं भी तो बस इस कान से उस कान उड़ा दूं। वो कहें बहर खुदा, हमसे मुसीबत नहीं उठती, रहम करो। याद करो घड़ियां जब मेरे इश्क में तुम रहते थे गिरियां। ये सितम क्या है कि महबूब से रहते हो कशीदा हो कबीदा। न दुआओं में असर है, न मोहब्बत की फिक्र है। जो उधर हाल था पहले, वही अब हाल इधर है। वही अब सीना से पर है, जो बना फिरता था कातिल, जो किया करता था गमजे। अजब रंग मोहब्बत है कि पहले जो था रोता वो है हंसता, जो था हंसता वो है रोता।
I think Azra has done a job that I cannot say anything about. It's unbelievably amazing, as she always was. I want to tell you something about Sheherazad. The people who were at Z's wedding know that Sheherazad knew 68 Ghalib at that time. She announced it on the stage and she said, I want to tell the meaning too. And she was 5 years old. And Azra has done the same for me because she's younger than me, much younger than me, like my kid basically. And so I'm very pleased. I want to say one share though in her reply, what she said about me being Khizr. कि गुमराह ज़माना हूँ मगर राह वफा में पूछे न खिज़र को भी सिकंदर मेरे आगे. So I would like to ask if anybody wants to say something, ask questions from Azra, because she is not available many times. She is here for 15 hours for me. She came only for that reason. And I would like you to take advantage of that. And if anybody, Sam, Ada, Gabe, and this is the reason Azra invited a lot of young people this time, that we need to give this to them and hear it from the expert, you. And so I hope you inspire them just like you did in Lahore. So many young people were inspired by her talk. And this was not the same talk, by the way. It was a very different talk, and it was very amazing also. But I want the younger people, if anybody wants to ask anything, no? Ada, Sam, Dave, you.
I have a question.
Okay, please come here.
To the young people, and this was wonderful. I'm sorry that my kids are not here, so I'm thinking, is it on tape somewhere?
Today it will be.
Lahore is,
Yeah, Lahore one is on tape.
It's on
Yeah, the Lahore one is on YouTube, but this one JB is making a, recording it, and I hope that I'll be able to pass it to all my friends. And I really thank Azra a lot from my heart, because she came with, she's so busy with, she's supposed to find cure of cancer by 2020, and I'm counting days. Because that's what she's been selected to do. And it's really a difficult job, but I think she'll do it because the way she wrote the plan and she shared it with me, I know 100% that it will be true. So thank you so much, all of you, for coming and listening to it. The food is ready upstairs, and we'll go up and eat. नहीं मांगे, कह रहे नहीं. अच्छा, Salma has
Please.
Salma has a question also.
I'm sorry that I stopped you, but
नहीं आपने, I really feel privileged, and I mean it. And this goes back to my first memory with you at University of Maryland, if you remember.
That was at the dawn of time.
That's right. That's right. And since then, I have followed you and am so proud of all your achievements, not only in the medical field, which we can't really thank you enough, but in every other field too. And thank you so much for being part of us and part of the community. We appreciate it.
That was absolutely, Azra, that was absolutely incredible. So moving. I had the privilege of studying Urdu poetry at Columbia. After graduating, there was an opportunity to get a scholarship to study a foreign language, and I studied Urdu for the very first time. And I had no idea that there was such a rich tradition of poetry in my own culture. That was almost 30 years ago, and I cannot wait to go home tonight and pull out my poetry books and read Ghalib and Momin and Mir and all of the others. I am so moved, I am so inspired. Thank you for that. Really, I'm bursting with excitement to open my, I used to know so many shares, and I'm going to memorize them again, and we'll have another conversation. You speak with such passion about poetry. Where is that coming from? What inspired you initially to be so passionate about Urdu poetry? What? Wrong question.
That's no, that's so. Salma, would rephrase your question for everyone, please. I'll just take 2 minutes to answer this.
I was just saying that the passion that Azra Appa feels for Urdu poetry is so palpable. I'm sure it's you know, we each felt it, and I just want to understand, where is that coming from? That sense of passion and inspiration about Urdu poetry, where is that stemming from?
I think that the important thing to know is...
It's not on.
Salma, that's, first of all, let me say that every issue that we faced in publishing this book has become worth it suddenly because of your comment. That we inspired you to go back and read Ghalib on your own and Momin on your own. How beautiful. And I was saying to Ada, did you hear that? I'm hoping that Ada and Sam and their friends will also be inspired now to read this. I come from a deeply poetic family. My father was from Lucknow, my mother from Aligarh. My brother Azra Raza is sitting here. My young cousins are here, Amir and Rashid. We are a family that has the tradition of poetry in such a way that reciting a sher for the context is the only sign of being civilized and being cultured. Our parents did not put us up like monkeys to recite for guests who are visiting. They made us recite shers at every dinner table and explain the meaning to us. So, as a result, once you understand one of those shers, you can't help but being totally ravished and totally seduced by it. I had, because I'm a scientist, I was speaking at Princeton University some years ago. So I made it my business to turn the limo and go to the home where Einstein used to live, 112 Mercer Street. And then as soon as we arrived there, somebody else lives there, obviously, they bought the house. I made the limo drivers stop there, went in to the garden of where Einstein lived for many years as he worked in Princeton. And you know what I did? I recited the following. जब के तुझ बिन नहीं कोई मौजूद फिर ये हंगामा खुदा क्या है ये परी चेहरा लोग कैसे हैं गमज़ो अश्वो अदा क्या है सब्ज़ो गुल कहाँ से आए हैं अब्र क्या चीज़ है हवा क्या है निगहते जुल्फ़े अंबरी क्यों है चश्मे सुरमा सा क्या है, निगाहे चश्मा सुरमा सा क्या है. Why? Because Ghalib had the same audacity as Einstein to question the universe, to question who is making the universe, to say मंजर एक बुलंदी पर और हम बना सकते, काश के उधर होता अर्श से मकान अपना. This is the man who says क्या फर्ज है कि सबको मिले एक सा जवाब, आओ ना हम भी सैर करें कोहे तूर की. वो गए होंगे तूर पे वर्शिप करने, हम तो सैर करने जाएंगे. The word, operative word here is सैर. क्या फर्ज है कि सबको मिले एक सा जवाब, उनको जला दिया हमें थोड़ी जलाएंगे. I mean, look at the audacity of Ghalib. So you are asking me what got me into it is, I have to say, my tehzeeb, my background, my upbringing, my family. Everybody recites shairs. That is part of our culture. Why had we lost it? In emulation of the Brits. It became more important to forget about our language, and the more you forgot, the prouder you felt that I only speak, I hate the local. No, for us it was just the opposite. So part of it is, I think, that we were exposed so much to it, and once you are exposed, you can't help but fall in love. Look at you. You were exposed to it for 45 minutes and you are feeling moved to do something. But once you like something, then वही है जो इकबाल ने कहा, तू रह नवर्द शौक है मंजिल न कर कबूल, लैला भी हम नशी हो तो महमिल न कर कबूल. मुझसे ये रोज़ अज़ल कहा जिब्राइल ने, जो अक्ल का गुलाम हो वो दिल न कर कबूल. You have to feel things viscerally to be able to do. Hard truths and facts without passion are a jockey without a horse. They are a bird without flight. They are a body without soul. You need emotions to be able to do things. And once you have emotions, you have to invest all of yourself in it. मकाम शौक तेरे कुदसियों के बस का नहीं. It is not where angels can. The angels fear to tread मकाम शौक पे. कुदसी is angels. एंजल्स के बस की बात नहीं है वहां जाना. मकाम शौक तेरे कुदसियों के बस का नहीं, उन्हीं का काम है ये जिनके हौसले हैं ज़ियाद. So I feel that it's not anything special about me at all, but it is our whole tehzeeb, our whole culture, and it is so sad that we have deprived our children of that tehzeeb ourselves with our own hands. And that is shame on us. Because what we have deprived them of is something so beautiful. I think it is the thing that will be able to deliver us from the kind of struggles and insecurities that we feel in facing life on a daily basis. Reading a couplet of Ghalib will show you to rise above all those things, to address questions of this nature. जब के तुझ बिन नहीं कोई मौजूद, फिर ये हंगामा है खुदा क्या है. I mean, imagine the audacity of a man asking, हंगामा है खुदा क्या है. Unbelievable. So thank you for asking that question. I can't take great credit for it myself. All I can say is that I was very lucky to be raised in a family where my parents, both of them, were really deeply rooted in this UP culture of poetry. Yes, JB, what a lovely thing to have you ask a question. JB is my favorite person in this room. Go ahead. Oh, wait, I have to say something. Why is he my favorite person? Because Z was living with me when they were courting. And Harvey, my husband, met JB for the first time, came and told me that this boy is really, really smart. I really like him. And with time, Harvey became JB's mentor, JB's friend. But most of all, he started depending on JB to help him in his work. And they continuously discussed projects to do together. You helped him so many times, and then Z and JB were living in Chicago because he was going to med school, so constantly in and out of the house. And I have to say that I have yet to see Harvey bond like this with another person. And till the day he died, JB was there. Of course, you had to be, but JB was there for Harvey. Sorry, JB.
No, that's okay. He was a special person. We had a connection. I wonder if you have a theory about, you mentioned the timelessness, the modernity, the audacity. You know, I have that experience sometimes reading Shakespeare. When you look at the contemporaries of these people, it's shocking how timeless it is and how modern it is. And I wonder if you have a theory about Ghalib in particular, where that comes from. Is that an individual genius? Is it the court that creates the space for that seed to blossom? Where does that come from?
That's a beautiful question. Many people have asked me, why aren't there Ghalibs now or great poets nowadays? Because art doesn't grow on trees. It requires patronage. It requires leisure. You can't work a 14-hour job as a software engineer. Or in New York, you can't be an overpaid, overfed, bored electrical engineer and then be expected to go home and write Araish Jamal se farig nahi hu. Of course not. It's not going to happen. You need real patronage also. You need to be given a stipend to live off of it and only think and write. And Ghalib had, those people had it. In Lucknow, the patronage is provided by the Nawabs and the kings of Awadh. In Delhi, the Mughal court is providing patronage, and that is why at a time when the entire tehzeeb is decimated, is falling apart under the hands of the British, the greatest poets are produced in like 12 of them at the same time. Why? Because there was patronage available. So, of course, there is individual talent has to be there, but it has to be nurtured. And I will read one couplet for you. That ghazal. आह को चाहिए एक उम्र असर होने तक, कौन जीता है तेरी जुल्फ के सर होने तक, आशिकी सब्र तलब और तमन्ना बेताब, दिल का क्या रंग करूं खूने जिगर होने तक. Now he comes to this शेर which I'll translate for you. दाम हर मौज में है, हल्के सदका में नहंग. Nahang is alligator. What in our poetry there is a myth that if the first raindrops of the first rain of the season go into a shell, they will become pearls. So Ghalib is saying, well, if you are not the first raindrops, finished. You don't have any chance, right? So first of all, there are very few people who are born with talent. But what happens to most of them? So this couplet is the completion of nature versus nurture debate. Ghalib is saying very few people would have the good fortune of being the first raindrops of the first season. But then what happens to them? Daam har mauj mein hai, halqe sab kaam mein nahang. In every wave there are 100 alligators sitting with their mouths open to catch you. So, nature, very few, but then how many difficulties you're going to face. So what happens in the end? दाम हर मौज में है, हल्के सदका में नहंग, देखें क्या गुजरे है कतरे पे गोहर होने तक, आह को चाहिए. What happens in the journey between that raindrop becoming a pearl? That's the question. And that requires patronage. So without that, you won't be able to. And in another very beautiful sher, he says the same thing. Tawfiq ba andaz-e himmat hai azal se. You get as many tests as you are capable of meeting, as many challenges. Tawfiq ba andaz-e himmat hai azal se. So in this sher, Ghalib is consoling those raindrops that didn't happen to be the first raindrops. He's saying, don't feel bad because why? तौफीक ब अंदाज़े हिम्मत है अज़ल से, आँखों में है वो कतरा जो गौहर न हुआ था. If you didn't become a pearl, because you weren't the first, right? Don't feel bad, because now you may be able to become a tear that comes out of the eyes of a lover. And then the entire glory of the sun fades in front of one spark of passion that slices the heart of a man. खुर्शीद जहां ताब की ज़ौ तेरे शरर में, आबाद है एक ताज़ा जहां तेरे हुनर में, जचते नहीं बख्शे हुए फिरदौस नज़र में, जन्नत तेरी पिन्हा है तेरे खून जिगर में. ए पैकर गिल कोशिश पहम की जजा देख, खोल आँख ज़मी देख, फलक देख, फिजा देख, मशरिक से उभरते हुए सूरज को जरा देख.
I have a question. So, I have attended your Urdu Mehfil in 91, 28, 27 years ago. And I know most of the interns who have gone through your lab have attended Urdu Mehfil
every week
and have been inspired by it, at least while they're working with you, at least. So, my question is that you have been passionate about poetry pretty much all your adult life. Why didn't you try writing your own poetry?
Because I'm a smart woman, I know I can't be. You know why? I'll give you a one-line answer. एक शायर था गालिब, बाकी शायर हैं गालिबन.